Hello Flosstube, I'm Angelica and this is Rose Red Crafts. Welcome in new viewers and welcome back to my returning viewers. Today is May 6th, Tuesday, and I am ready for a stitchy update. I believe it's been about a month since my last check-in. I have been busy every weekend all month. I've had things going on, but I've still gotten a lot of stitching done. I didn't look back up through my notes for what all my goals were for this after my last update, but some of the things that I remember that I said I wanted to do was I wanted to watch the newest season of Chaos Theory on Netflix. That's the animated Jurassic Park show. And I wanted to keep working on my Isla Nublar. I wanted to keep reading the Hannah Swenson book that I was reading, which I think was Chocolate Cream Pie Murder. That's book number 24 in the series. I did finish that just a couple of days ago. I reach for it before bed because typically when we go to bed we turn the lights off and it takes my little an hour or two before he actually falls asleep. So I use that time to read so that I'm awake and he could fall asleep before me. I don't always reach for it though. I do tend to reach for Love in Deep Space. That's a mobile game that I play on my phone. Most nights I do that part before I reach for the book. So that's why it took so long to actually finish it, but it is finished. And I looked in my library, my Kindle library, and I do have the next 2 or 3 books in the series. So I do have those if I want to keep continuing with the story, which I will because I am invested, even if it's not the greatest story. The writing isn't as good as it used to be. Anyways, that was a tangent for my previous video. I wanted to diamond paint. I was itching to diamond paint. I only spent one night diamond painting, but it was a very productive 5-hour session and I felt really good when I put it away for the night. So, and I haven't reached for it since. So, I'm working for diamond painting. I'm working on flower delivery. I started that last year and I put it away so that I could work on a couple of other kits that I've since finished. So instead of kitting up something else, I did decide to work on that because I had started it during the springtime. So it felt fitting to keep working on that one for now, especially since I don't want to sit down and only diamond paint right now. So did I have any other goals? I don't think I had any other goals. I have been stitchy productive, and we've been busy every weekend. We've been busy every weekend in April and into May. So just one day out of the week, but it's really been draining. How we just keep having something to do, and I'm pretty sure there's 2 more events that we've been invited to this coming up, and I just don't know if I have the energy to do anything else. I really just want to sit home. Yesterday was my first full day. No, sorry, scratch that. Today is my first full day off all month. And I say that as it's the 6th. I haven't gotten to sit down and do nothing for May yet. So I kind of did on Sunday, where I just got to stitch and watch TV, but I still felt obligations on my shoulders. So today is my first full day of just obligation free. So Okay, so now I'm just going to get into my whips, everything that I worked on, and then there's uh, a couple of things I want to talk about afterwards before wrapping up for the day. So I'm going to go off of my list I'm going to go off my list that I have here. I made this list almost a week before the month was over, so hopefully what I wrote down is accurate. So first up is Well Suited. This is from Ink Circles. And I am doing this 2/1 on 18 count. The last time I just showed this in my last video that I had put in like 600 and something stitches and then realized that there was an error. So what I did is I frogged it, all my mistake. So the error was down here, and I had I had this outside border like this all the way around, and got up to about here, and then realized that that there was a counting error somewhere. So I had to frog all that. So I spent one day frogging all that. It was about 800 something stitches, and then I was gonna put it away, but I was gonna put it away. I wasn't gonna work on it, but I had an appointment, and I wanted to take something to work on while I was in the waiting room, and so I ended up just picking this up. So I did I only put in 100 stitches. I think it was just this area right here. This it should just be this part right here. 100 stitches. So nothing exciting, but I am going to switch up how I'm working on this. So yeah, 101 stitches in on that one. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is Visit Nublar. This is from Country Magic Stitch. I'm doing this on 18 count, 4/1 half stitch. And this is my progress. Oh, I didn't write the note. Okay, I worked on it for 4 days. And hold on one second. Okay, so I guess I forgot to write down my totals for that. So, and then my little required some attention. So let's start again. Here's where I am on that. I put in 4 days and 3,724 stitches. Half stitches. And again, I said I'm doing this 4/1 half stitch. Up close, I do not like doing 4/1 half stitch. It's so ugly up close, but from far away it looks fine. And I have already started all of these Country Magic Stitch posters that I'll be working on, they're all going to be the same. They're all on the same fabric, and so they'll also be 4/1 half. And I'll probably pick this up at least one more time this summer. Yeah, I'll probably work on it at least one more time. Soon. Okay, and next up, things got a little weird for me stitching wise. Like I went off the book from what I expected. So when the year started, and I didn't really have, I didn't, I was struggling with coming up with what my plans were going to be. So I ended up making, I made 2 whip go boards, but never followed through with either of them. And it wasn't until late January that I made a 3rd whip go board. And that whip go board is for all of my Christmas pieces that I started during Flossmas. If you haven't watched me, if you're new to my channel, back during December, I started 22 new starts in December for Flossmas. And so I made a whip go board with those pieces. And then I think I gave my Aurora cabin a couple of extra days just to fill in the board, which was the only non-new start project that I chose for Flossmas. Anyways, so I haven't followed through with that either, but I did decide to pull all of my Christmas pieces because I have them all in one of these bags, so that they're all together. So I have a whole bag just for my Flossmas projects. So what I ended up doing is updating my whip go board and gathered up all of my Christmas pieces that have been called so far for the year. And I don't know what made me grab these ones first, but I worked on 2. So of all the whip go calls this year, I've only worked on 2. So the first one I worked on was Bundled Up Birdie. So it got 1 day. This is a freebie from, I want to say Blue Ribbon Designs. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't write any of this stuff down, but all of this stuff was detailed in my Flossmas Whip Parade. So this is Bundled Up Birdie. I have my notebook behind me and not in front of me because I don't want it clinking near the microphone, but it's making it inconvenient to have to keep turning. So Bundled Up Birdie got 419 stitches. And all it needs is the snowflakes, the white snow. I'm pretty sure that's all it needs, and then it'll be done. And then I also picked up Mistletoe Kisses. This is also a freebie pattern from Silver Creek Samplers. Before, all I had was the green leaves, so everything else is new. This one got 514 stitches. These are both done on, pretty sure these are both done on 18 count 2/1. And I think I worked on them both on the same day. So I think I only did 1 day of whip go work. So I'm pretty sure I probably worked on this during the first half of the day and this the second half. And then I know that they've already called for May, and I haven't added the May calls into this bag yet. Itchy nose. Then, after I decided I didn't want to keep working on Christmas projects, I decided to go rogue, and I pulled out Cthulhu Awakens. Cthulhu Awakens is a free chart from World in Stitches blog. It came across my newsfeed on Facebook, and I started this October 5th of 2023. and I finished it. Um, so the thing is, um, I struggled to work on this since I started it almost 2 years ago. Um, it doesn't 100% go into Pattern Keeper. It's one of those ones that goes into Pattern Keeper, but as you mark them as stitched, it turns it gray, so it's hard to see exactly where you are. Um, besides that, this is 2/1 on 18 count. And when I was doing that back then, I didn't like stitching 2/1, but now it feels like the majority of my projects are 2/1 on 18 count. Um, but I knew that it was going to give the look that I wanted. So, but yeah, I struggled to work on this for the longest time. And just one day I was like, you know what? I want to work on it. So I pulled it out, and I didn't want to put it down, so I kept working on it. And I remember one day, um, my husband wanted to play Fortnite, and I was like, okay, but then I want to get back to this because I never want to work on it, and I don't want to lose the momentum. So I want to keep going until I am done working, until I don't want to work on it anymore. And next thing I know, I finished it. The majority of this was stitched. I'm trying to think. So I went through a Marvel phase in April, to where I had restarted so I rewatched all of the Spider-Man movies, all of them, the Tobey Maguire, the Andrew Garfield, and the Tom Holland. And Tom Holland also is in Civil War, Infinity Wars, and Endgame, so I also watched those as well. And then after watching all of those Spider-Man movies, I went and watched some. I hadn't watched. I hadn't been all caught up on all the movies and shows, so I did get caught up on the ones that I had passed over or didn't get around to watching. So I know that a big chunk of this I was watching. Not I was watching Marvel the whole time I was stitching on this. I was either watching Marvel or Flosstube. Um, Agatha all along, is what I was going to say. I think the big chunk of this I was stitching. A big chunk of this I was watching Agatha all along. Anyways, I'm so happy that this got done because not only was this something that I was dragging my feet on, but also I wasn't expecting any finishes this year. This was not going to be a year of finishes for me because, well, first off, I didn't actually say Cthulhu Awakens. I worked on this for 7 days. It took 7 days, 4,751 stitches. Yeah. I think I finished Agatha all along in 1 day, so it couldn't have been the whole time. I, I, I just remember working on it during that time. So yeah, I wasn't expecting any finishes this year because because my main goal was to get everything was going to get touched, and I wanted at least 2,000 stitches on everything. And since that had over 4,000 stitches left in it, I didn't expect it to get finished, especially since of how many, when I do pull it out, I'm lucky if I get 1,000 stitches. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to finish that, but because of that, I decided to pull out 2 other whips that are now that Cthulhu Awakens is gone. The other 2 whips that I have that are closest to a finish, I decided to work on those as well in April. So first one is Supernatural Sal from the Witchy Stitchers. This was a chart that I purchased during pre-sale. I think I purchased it pre-sale. And if not pre-sale, then if they didn't pre-sale, I bought it right away when it was first announced. So I got the frame done before the first creature was dropped, and then I fell off, and it took me forever to start working on it again. So here's where I'm at. So it doesn't look like I'm close to a finish. Sorry, my child is being chatty. So Supernatural Style, first off, I'm doing this 2/1 on 18 count. Fabric dyed by me. I think this is the last coffee tea dye fabric that I did. Maybe it's not tea dyed. It might just be coffee dyed. I worked on this for 3 days, put in 1,127 stitches. And I had done these 3 creatures right here. In fact, I know that I was watching Marvel's What If when I worked on those. So I had already previously started this one because it was, I don't know, I feel like there was a challenge that I needed to work on, so I decided to start that. But I've been working on these monsters. So what I was saying is this doesn't look like it's close to a finish, but percentage wise it is the closest to a finish of my whips. I do have, of all my whips, though, the whip I have with the least amount of stitches left is also a Witchy Stitcher project, but it barely has any stitches in it to begin with. So it's just a small chart. I don't know if you can hear my child. He's saying colors right now for I don't know why. Just trying to get my attention. Okay, so the next thing I decided to work on was No Time Like the Present. That was the 2024 Sal from Modern Folk Embroidery. Okay, here is where I'm at. This is on 18 count. This was my first go at gridded fabric. I had never done gridded fabric before, so this was my first try at gridded fabric. So I started with 18 count because I know I was confident in 18 count. I hadn't tried 25 count yet, I don't think, when I started this. Or when I purchased this, I hadn't started it. Okay, so I think what happened was I bought 25 count after purchasing this 18 count, but I still started this before I started that project that was on 25 count. Anyways, I worked on this for 2 days and put in 1,606 stitches. So what I worked on is, it was only green. I only worked on some green. I did all of the green. Let's see here. I probably should have just done a before picture. Anyways, I worked on all of this green right here on this side. So all this green, and then also the is up here? Yeah, you can't tell, but there's a ring of green in that one and that green. And then I did start the green on this side up here. I did that, but I think that's all I did on that side. So the first night that I worked on this, I just was trying to get all of the green done on this side. That's all I wanted to do, was get all the green done on this side, and then possibly get that moon done. So, yeah, I realized before when I was getting ready to put the my needle down, and put the packet away and then I realized that I was really close to hitting 50% of this overall. So, so I decided to just keep going until I hit that 50%. Okay, I only have 2 more whips. Next up, I worked on, sorry. So next up, I worked on Pokemon. This is from Lord Libidin. It is also a free chart. Here is where I'm at. I worked on this for 2 days, 1,172 stitches. I am pretty sure that this might be where I worked primarily. I want to say I started with Mr. Mime. I think I started in that vicinity. And then I was just working on the black for the most part. I was just working on black. And then because I thought that I could get all of the black done for these 2 pages. But it got to a point where I was just burnt out on doing the black, and there was still a big chunk of black here. So I did move on and start using some color. Because even though there's no black right here, there's no black there on the chart at all. So I had originally wanted to get all of the black done on these pages. But yeah, I wanted to take a break from the black. So I did start working on some color. This is one of my focus pieces for the year. It is my oldest whip. I did restart it 2 years after I did restart it 2 years after I had started it, but I still consider it my oldest whip. I'm saying this because of the goal was to get 25,000 on this, 10,000 or 25,000 on this year, and I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. It's still the year's only almost halfway over, so I'm not going to change my goals or anything, but I haven't really been picking it up much. So unless I get a sudden urge to work on it, then it's not likely to get 25,000 stitches this year. Okay, the last project I work on is Melisandre. Melisandre is from Maxine Gad. And here is where I'm at. Can I fold this in half? Yeah. Okay, so here's where I'm at. I'm really proud of my progress on this one. I only worked on it for 2 days. So I'm really proud of this progress for 2 days. 2,295 stitches. These are half stitches on 25 count, so this is 2 over 1. Originally when I started this, because of the confetti, it just felt like it was taking so long to see any progress, and now this entire vicinity is all filled in. So yeah, the bulk of this is all filled in. And I got so much done. So I'm really proud that I got this much progress on it. I pulled this out because of temperature stitching. I was balancing out my temperatures for the month because I had let them slide all month. So in preparation for like the end of the month wrap up, getting everything, all my numbers ready and stuff, I was balancing out my numbers for temperature stitching, and this was the only thing that that I owed for. So if you look right here, I have temp stitching. These are the numbers that I use for these whips. This is what I owe coming into the month. This is my tally for the month. And then this is my number going into the next month, which I don't usually do this. I just did this month because of because I was wrapping it up early. And see how there's 3. It looks like a 2, but I'm pretty sure it's a 3. That was what I still owed for the month, so I decided to pull this out and knock that out, and now I am in the negative going into temperature stitching for May. So technically I could probably get away with no temperature stitching in May, and which helps me with my plan, my stitching plan for the month. So I won't be obligated to work on any temperature stitching. Oh, duh, I have one more whip to show. That was just April's. So my plan for May, I talked about this, is that, okay, so there's so many stitching plans. Everybody makes stitching plans for May. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words, or my thoughts. So there's a lot of different stitching events in May. There's Mania stitching, there's Monogamous May, there's Mirabilia May, and there's a whole bunch more that I can't even think of right now. Those are just the main ones that I'm aware of. But for me, what I like to do, this is only technically my first year doing it, because my whip is in a different spot. That's why I forgot about it. So Star Wars Day is May 4th. And then there's also May 6th sometimes. I don't know if it's an unofficial Star Wars Day or what. So I decided last year that Star Wars deserved at least a week. So I considered the entire first week of May, the 1st through the 7th, to be Star Wars week. So last year I purchased a chunk of charts from Country Magic Stitch so I could do all the Star Wars posters every year for Star Wars week. Last year, even though I didn't have a Star Wars project, what I did was I worked on whatever I was working on at the time, and then I spent at least a week watching Star Wars. I watched to switch it up, instead of watching the classics and the prologues, the prequels. Instead of watching the originals and the prequels, I decided to switch it up, and I watched Rogue One, and then I watched Solo, because I had never seen those. I had never rewatched those. I had only seen them once, so I decided to give those a rewatch. And then after that, I know that I watched The Bad Batch, which I had never seen before, so I watched all 3 seasons of those. And then I started watching Clone Wars, the animated series. I don't know how far I got in it, but I eventually, around mid to late May, I got totally burnt out, and I was like, so I stopped watching Star Wars. But like I said, Star Wars week, I was able to extend it to 2 or 3 weeks of Star Wars, just watching Star Wars content. But I didn't have any Star Wars projects at the time. So this year I was going to do Star Wars week and work on Welcome to Tatooine from Country Magic Stitch. So I did. I started it on the 1st. Let me show you. Well, actually, let me just show you my giant bag with my 8x11 frame. So excited. I made a couple of purchases. I made a couple purchases this month, or last month. 123 stitch. One of those being an 11-inch Q snap. So now I have two 11x8 frames, and these are my go-tos now. I'm so happy because I love the width or length of an 8-inch because of how I stitch. Because of the way I stitch, I could balance. You can't see what I'm doing, but the way I stitch, I hold it, but I have my hand underneath, and then I stitch like that. So I love an 8-inch, but I love the width of an 11. So I'm so happy. So anyways, here's where I'm at on this. I've worked on this every single day this month. So like I said, today's the 6th. I did make a mistake today. So I worked on this area today. I did make a counting error, so I think I'm going to make my way over down here. I'm going to make my way down and then get to the actual banner at the bottom, to make sure that I corrected the stitch, because I made a counting error underneath in this gap. So I tried to correct it up here, because it's all fill in. So I tried to correct it, but I want to make sure that I corrected it. So that's probably where I'm going to go next on this. So I've worked on this every single day. If I continue to maintain 700 or 800 stitches per day, I could get this done this month. I don't think that I'll actually be able to do that because it's all orange and brown, and that gets really monotonous after a while. So I don't know if I'll be able to actually finish it this month, but that is the ambitious goal I have, because I do have all of the other charts that they have put out. So that's what I'm doing. Also because this is going to be my focus for as long as I can, I probably won't put out another Flosstube for a few weeks. If I can maintain this as a monogamous project, then it'll be a while before I check back in. But if I get sick of this sooner and then start working on other stuff, then you might see me before the month is over. So the reason why I almost forgot about this is because it's in this huge bag that I made. So as April was wrapping up, and I was excited to start this project. I also really wanted to make some project bags, and I've been dragging my feet on those for over a year now. I purchased the fabric last year, and one second. Okay, so back in December of 23, I made my first project bags. These are a couple of them. I made this Batman one, this Nightmare Before Christmas, and then this bag. These are a couple of the bags that I made. I made them, and then around April or May of 24, so last year, I had a $100 gift card for Hobby Lobby, so I decided to use that on fabric. So I bought $100 worth of fabric, and then I never got around to making project bags. Actually, scratch that. There was one day that I decided to work on project bags, but instead of touching my pretty fabric that I had just bought, I decided to take some of the fabric that I had previously, and so this was a part of a yard, and I wanted to see how big of a project bag I could make out of it. So this is the results of that. So I cut this fabric out last year. I've cut the strips and everything ready to go. I hadn't done the vinyl yet though. But I had cut everything for this bag last year, but I never got around to actually sewing it. So a week ago, the last week of April, after I had wrapped up the stitching for the month, I decided to pull out my sewing machine and the fabric and make some bags, because I knew that I wanted to try to get as much of that tattooing whip done as possible. So I didn't want to stop in the middle of the month, I didn't want to lose momentum stitching on it by to working on something else. So I tried to make some bags. And it took me a lot longer to make the bags than I had intended. So I thought I just needed an early start one day, and then I would have them done by dinner time. And that did not happen. It took me 3 days to get these bags done. So like I said, this big bag, I had the pieces all cut out, but I couldn't remember what I was doing with this exactly. So I knew I kind of wanted to start from scratch. So I started cutting the other fabric, and I was all over the place. I was pretty scattered. I did obviously end up making this into a bag, and I love this, especially if it's the frame, but also when the frame's not in it, I don't really know what to do with it. So let me show you my bags real quick. So originally, first off, let me show you these two bags. Originally I had bought this. So when you make fabric project bags, you want to use 2 or 3 different types of fabric. Usually you got one on the back, one in the center, and then one for accent. But you could do you could do it in different, you could do 2 or 3 different fabrics. So anyways, so you have the main fabric, and then I got these blue and pink. Sorry. Okay. So trying to be frugal while purchasing all of the fabric that I wanted, I had this idea that if I bought this blue and pink fabric, that I could use those as the accent colors on all of my projects. But then I quickly realized that that would look weird on all of the bags, if all of my bags had the same blue and pink strip. So these are the only 2 bags that I put the blue and pink on. And so since I did, I put these funky bright color zippers on them just to make them look extra special. So these will go to my epic Pokemon and my Pokemon type chart. So they'll both have Pokemon bags. All the other bags, I'm probably not going to decide what to put in them until I pull out everything for my summer whip parade. So I have this purple one and this purple one. These were going to go interchangeable, like I was going to mix and match these, but at a certain point I didn't want to do that. So everything is going to be all just one fabric, but they're all pretty much the same size. I have this donut bag and this mermaid scale bag. This one I was really frustrated because I couldn't get the wrinkles out very well. Like I was getting irritated with how much time I was spending ironing out this fabric, and it wasn't coming out. But yeah, so I got these 2 bags. These are my fun ones. This one I did use the 2-toned, so it's on the back, it's the black that I'm using for the accent. So that was my intention when I bought this one, so I did do it the way I wanted to. But then I also made just a plain brown one too. And then I have this one. And then, well, then I started, so when I was stitching those up, I did mess up on a couple of the zippers. And since I had to pull out and cut some more fabric, I decided this probably helped add an extra day. But I started to make 4 more bags out of the fabric that I already had. So I made a bag that was just the bird, just the animals, because I had made 2 bags with these both together. So now they have their own full bag. I used one for this mermaid fabric and one for this Jack Skellington. And then I made this one, which is going to be slightly bigger. Not too much bigger. See, not too much bigger, but bigger enough. My idea for this one was to put the Witchy Stitchers Tarot Sal in it. And since I was doing this, that's when I decided, well, I might as well do this one also. So those are all my bags. After I finished these all up, I had just enough vinyl left over to do, I might have enough vinyl to do 2 more bags this size, but it's more likely I have enough vinyl to do 3 or 4 smaller bags. So I was like, well, I don't want to hold on to this vinyl for no reason, so I figured I would just go ahead and make them. But then I remembered all of the hassle I dealt with the zippers, and I was like, no, never mind. So if you see up here above my Monopoly board, there is that's what's left of my vinyl. So yeah, I had saved it originally because because I was having trouble with the zippers, because if the fabric's not straight, and I have the ADHD where I don't have the patience to cut straight lines, so my zippers were getting wonky. They were curving, either bowing in or out. So I had to cut more fabric and try again. So my thought was, if one of the bags came out horrible, then I had enough vinyl to replace it. But obviously I was able to make all of them work. So, and when I was working on, they're not up to par to like selling them yet, because I don't have the patience for straight lines. So, and even this one's got the worst issue where the fabric got away from me, and right here, the fabric got away from me, and it warped pretty bad, so it messed up right here. So one wrong, and so that's a very, very tiny margin between this stitching and where the vinyl is. So if something too heavy got put in here, it would probably poke a hole through it, or separate where the stitches are. So that's all my project bags. Then the last thing I want to talk about before I wrap it up is I knew earlier on this year that I wanted to invest in how I'm going to store my floss. So I showed you before that right now all of my floss is just shoved in this 18 quart tub, and it's divided up into Ziploc bags, kind of like this. So every color is in their own bag, theoretically. So originally, when I first started stitching, I purchased one of those 400 plus packs of floss from Amazon, and that's how I kit up my epic Pokemon from Lord Libidin. So then I went and purchased a second pack of 400 plus floss, so that I could do a master set of them. And then I made my own little bobbins for them to wind them up. And this doesn't look horrible like this, but it's horrible. So first of all, this is how big a bobbin's supposed to be. These are too tiny. So a lot of them are like these round balls that are just kind of a pain in the butt to work with. And it seems easy enough to sort them by colors, but it gets overwhelming really quickly. So I never followed through with organizing them. Then last year I started buying DMC. Last year I started buying DMC for my full coverage projects. It started off with, I want to say it started off with Lost Soul. And then after that, anytime I started a full coverage project, I started buying the DMCs for them. So I haven't been buying DMCs for too long, but I do have a collection now. So what I really wanted to do is make a for my floss storage. The idea I had, so I looked on YouTube for everybody's storage, how they store their floss, and nobody seemed to have the storage system that I want. And I don't know if that's because they tried it and it doesn't work, or maybe they didn't think to do it that way. I don't know. But my idea was to do the floss away bags in an index card type of full format. So a box with like the tabbed index cards, and then also have an index card similar to diamond painting storage. If you were a diamond painter and you were saving your bags, it's kind of the same concept. But they would be divided up by not only a tabbed piece of index cardboard, whatever, but also I wanted to have an actual index card tabbed in, similar to a library card thingy. What's it called? Where you so that I could make notes like this color is being used for this project, this project, this project, etc. Um, so that I know before you steal that floss, I also need it for these other projects. So anyways, that was my idea, but I couldn't find anybody that had done that successfully. The only other person that I could, maybe it's just my algorithm, but the only other person that I could find that was using floss away bags for their storage was, they kept them on rings. Um, and that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to put rings on all my floss away bags. Um, like a chunk of them, like a chunk of floss away bags on a ring. I wanted them to be, I wanted to be able to sort through a box. So that being said, I after watching so many videos, so many ideas, there was this one person who they did a file box style, and I thought about it, and I thought, you know what, I don't think I could store a file box. And then also, aesthetically, my favorite option is the Brisley box, the Brisley 5 drawer with the foam inserts and the bobbin, the bobbins, the plastic bobbins. Aesthetically, that's my favorite option, but I know that I would never want to use that floss, and I still want a way to be able to store all my loose smaller bits of floss, and I feel like I wouldn't want to make the Brisley box look messy. I'd always leave it untouched. So um so I thought about the file box and then decided against it. Uh, I I just didn't think that I would have anywhere to store it. So then I thought, well, what if, thinking of the file box, what if I do something like this? So this is my cards that are left over from my Hade sale. Okay, this is how I had them during the Hade sale. What if I make something like this and do this as my master set? But I don't want, but how would I connect them? And then I thought, well, maybe if I put two little like this and then I have them both on the hanger. So what if I put them like that to store them? But how would I hold them if I do it like that? And then I thought, well, what if I, instead of two little holder rings, I do 3 rings? And what if I put it in a binder? That would be smart. And then no sooner did that thought come out of my brain when I realized, wait a minute, that's literally what Jen Lee does. That's what I had just seen her video about storing her floss in like a zip up binder. So I felt silly, like I thought I came up with something brilliant, but I had literally already seen somebody say that they did that. But anyway, so I decided to do the folder option. So I bought, also it was the cheapest option based off of what I already have on hand. So I did order a zip up binder on Amazon. It was just under 30 bucks. I want to say it was $22, but I did look it back up and it's saying it's 26 now. But regardless, it was less than 30 bucks for this zip up binder. And then I had hoped it would be here before May started, so that I could get a head start on cutting and making some tags for them. And it didn't come, and then it didn't come, and then I got a message saying it was delayed. It was delayed, and the last time I had an order get delayed through Amazon, it ended up not coming at all. So I went to Walmart and I bought a file box and some file cards, and it was 25 bucks. So I bought a file box, and I'm going to do the file box method. It's still essentially the same thing. You'll take the file cards, if you hadn't seen it, you'll take the file cards and you'll cut them, and then you'll make your marks. And I'm going to cut them like similar to this, and then you would string them. But I'm also going to attach 1-inch rings when needed, for like excess, if I've got like extra floss of that color. But I'm going to cut them all the same length, so a consistent length, um, so that I have a way to know if I have half a skein or a quarter skein left, based off of how many strands I have on it. So so that's what I'm going to do. I did end up getting that, so that binder did end up coming in the mail eventually. So I not only do I have the binder and the file box. So maybe so I haven't decided what I want to do with the binder. I might do the same thing, but organize all that miscellaneous floss that I bought from Amazon. I might put those in the binder. So I don't know, but that's what's going on with my floss stuff right now. So I'm probably going to be working monogamously on my Star Wars Welcome to Tatooine whip. And if I do, like I said, if I do maintain to work on that monogamously throughout the month, then I probably won't come back until June for an update. But if I decide to switch things up and take a break from that, then I might come in before May. But I don't think that's likely. I think that's everything for today. I'm going to let you go. And I'm not sure if I'll get this posted tonight or tomorrow. But I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Happy stitching. Bye.